Hello, everyone. This is Abdurrahman Gilal. In our last presentation, we discussed that how we can develop Java classes and how can we use those classes by creating their instances or objects, right? So we continue that lecture. We are still in the classes and we are still in the objects. But today I realized that it is very important for us to have a little further understanding about, some levels and the members of the class and the objects. So how can we actually differentiate whether that particular variable or a method belongs to a specific instance or to a class. So as once again I must repeat the definition about the class. Class is a template and the object is an instance of that template. For example, human is a class, Kate is a class. So Abdul is a human, so Abdul is an object. So Luna is a cat, which is basically an object. So object is instance, which is filled up of values over the template. So how we gonna make a difference that whether such a property belongs to or such method belongs to a class or it is basically going to be, accessed or used by the instance or it has, level within the instance. So usually in Java programming language, we use a keyword called static that actually define the level or a membership of a variable or a method. So like in a class, we may have variable or we may have methods because we remember the three things: the name of a class, or values or fields of the class, and the last one was a method. So the fields are the variables and the methods are the methods or behavior, right? So when by default we do not mention anything, it is considered to be non-static. But when we mention word static, which means we are now creating a class level member, which means that if I have a static variable or a static method, it does not require me to create object to use it. So I can use it if it's in my package anywhere in any class without creating its object. But if I do not have its, how to say, a static keyword mention, which means it is non-static, and the non-static has to go through with, objects. We cannot directly access them. Sorry. So there are some benefits of using static, and there are some, uh, you know, benefits or problems, benefits of non-static. At the same time, we have some limitations of using a static. So let me quickly jump and say that. Static method is one of that can be used without calling an object. This is what we can simply understand. So same thing goes for static. Variable is a variable that is not required to be called by the object. Okay, so uh, when I have a variable or method used with a static keyword, it means that now it can be used anywhere. So when I use a static, so behind the scene compiler assigns, a memory that is, specifically defined for that particular variable or assigned to the particular method. So it is, I would say, kind of generic space. Whether you use in any object, it will not be occupying in any other places. So once it's declared, it is going to be used throughout the uh, program. So it is sometimes efficient that you once declare and you use it anywhere you want, how many times you want. And sometimes there are some information which are like publicly available. So once we declare it, and then we can use it anywhere we want to use, right? So it's called a shared data benefits can also come with the static. And some people, uh, consider that this utility method can be used for utility function that do not depend on any state of any object. For example, method for performing calculations, any maths functions or methods. So it is very easy. But at the same time, like there is a problem that if we have something which is non-shareable with everyone, which we particularly wanted to make sure that it has to go through with some particular objects. So then we should be careful not using that particular keyword static with that. By default, it will be non-static. So each object, so whenever we have non-static method or variable, has to be called by object. So every object will have its own copy of the value or member. So it is good to have it sometimes because we can make the specific data. We can focus on encapsulation. We also can focus on inheritance by using non-static. So it depends like where it is needed. So let's say if I am working on non-static example, so it is like every person has its own attributes such as name, age, gender. So that should be non-static. We cannot just make person class as a static class. But at the same time, like if we have some general information like the place I live or we all live, it's like let's say it's in America, so it's common for everyone, so it's everyone. But I wanted to say that there are some general informations which we do not want to make specific for any particular object, so it is good for us to have it. So I will be quickly going to tell you that how we can implement that static and non-static, and you're gonna see that how they are different from each other. So let me close this presentation first. Okay, so excuse me, just give me a second. Okay, so let's quickly make a file. Let's make a file for, let's say, I'm gonna say example file. Example static, or I will say example. So it is easy for me to say example class. Okay, so in example class, I started with first with variables. We're gonna see that how static variables can be accessed by the caller class or method, let's say. So I'm gonna create a first static. It has to come up with the word keyword static that has to become, and then any type. Let's say I'm gonna say static value. So static value means any or static variable. It's better. It's a static variable, so I give it any value which is 10, and I create non-static variable. Once again, I say non-static variable will be, uh, you know, you know, without mentioning any keyword. So it's by default non-static. So I quickly put a comment for you. So it is static, and this is non-static variable. So variable. Okay, so this is a quick one that I'm not going to create any further, how to say, mm, method or anything for that. Let me create another class. So I'm going to create this one for, let's say, so static or static versus, no, okay, I make it man. Okay, this is called main better. Oh, okay, we got a main here, so we have to create another one. So let's say, sorry, better use test example class. So this is my tester. So now this is my tester. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna create my what am I going to say? My main function. So public static void main and the string args. Okay, so once again here we got a static. We're gonna be learning about that how it's different from the other static variable. So let me see. Let me grab quickly about this like system dot out dot println. So the initial value for static variable. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring, here the class name. What is my class name? It's called example dot, static variable. You're gonna see here quickly that when I say example, which is the name of this class, and I put dot operator, which we have discussed in our, okay, I'm sorry, it's having a spelling error. So let's say dot operator actually tells us like what are the available members or fields in that particular class. So it actually helps us to access those features of the class. So let's say if I have an example dot, so I do not see the other non-static variable here because I told you that cannot be used directly. So I'm gonna just use this one first to see whether it works or not. Just jump back here. Let's run it. Okay. Oh, no, 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 not this one. So, sorry. Yeah. Test example again. Give me a second. Yeah, so it's a 10 one. So, okay. And if I want to change any value of example dot static variable is equals to, now I make it 100, and then I quickly just, print it again. It's the same. It's gonna be showing me 10 and 200. So did I create any object? Simply no. So what means that if I have any other class, such as I have already developed one another class in previous, or previous uh, recording. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to help you to, system dot out dot println, and give me a second, I just paste it here. So now if I run this one as well, so I don't have to worry, I can easily see that the value of my static variable. It is, 10, so it's an initial one, right? So it means that I can now access that particular variable anywhere I want. So this is something sometimes good, but sometimes not good. But how about if I want to access my non-static variable here? Can I? What is the name of the variable? That is called non-static. So let me just simply put it here. So you're gonna see, like, as soon as I run, I will hit an error. So definitely, yes, it's an error. You cannot. So it's a non-static variable. Non-static var cannot be referenced from a static context. So how we can use that? So simple is what we did in our previous class or previous lecture is that we just create example. So what we're gonna do, sorry, it's wrong spell again. Okay, my bad. Example, like I would say non-static. This is my identifier and then example again. That's it. So now if I want to access the same variable, but I had to create objects. So non-static is my object now. So can I use this? Let's run it. That's good, right? It's good. So 10 is my static, and this is again static. I'm sorry, this is non-static. Non-static. Now I can easily see that non-static works fine, no problem. So this is very quick understanding about static and non-static. It's going to be the same for the methods now. If I have a method that is a non-static method, has to be, called through object. So let's just take an example for the non-static. So what I'm going to do is here is that I'm going to create a keyword. I will create a method using not of static, so I'm gonna say it's a static method. So I'm not gonna pass anything to it. And I'm gonna say, if anyone calls me, I'm gonna say this is non-static. Hello. Okay, I am a non, oh sorry, I am a static function. Just not I am a static function method. Sorry. Okay, so this is what I will be understanding if someone calls me. Okay, so this one I will make non-static. So this is a non-static. So I will just say I'm a non-static method. So anywhere I call, once again, you should remember that a non-static method has to be called by the method, oh sorry, by the object. And the static method does not need to be having any object. So this is one of the things that now you understand, or you may understand, that when we have this static word with main function, which means we can, whether it belongs to any class or not, but this function, or sorry, this method does not require us to be called using any object. So let's see quickly. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to call example dot. I have this non-static method as well, and static method. So I will call static method first. So let's run it. And does it work? Yeah. Hello, I am a static method. So I do the same thing here. I just simply call example dot non-static. So just for your understanding, that run the same thing again, and we gonna face, or we gonna, oh sorry, I got my point is that I kept this static keyword here. So now I'm gonna run it. So let's run it. The same thing, you already got error here, so you will see what is error. So a non-static method cannot be referenced from a static context. So this is a very simple understanding about non-static. In order to now use non-static, I have to make sure that I have an object. So I already have an object, which is non-static object. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to place non-static dot, and then I got non-static method. So I just double click here and I run it. So we got some beauty in it, that the non-static methods can only be called using object, and static method can be called by just simply referring to its class names. So that's all for today, a short presentation about the static and non-static. I will be happy to answer if you have got any question, or if you want to discuss anything else with me on this topic. Please take care. Bye bye.